I assume that if he had 25, he'd be running the black, but he's running that Raven's Honor color scheme for a dark purple Darth Vader going into the classic Roman Reigns out of Godly for game 1.
Looking pretty good here. I've been wondering too, because we don't really see much Ezio, but now that the Darth Vader's out, maybe we'll be seeing that a bit more. So it's cool to see Acno here on that Vader, jumping into this game 1, holding that orb, getting that first neutral engagement, that side light there, pushing Godly off stage, holding that edge, hitting this end light and these dares, catching the dodge. His orb is looking pretty good. The Darth Vader's out and he's ready to play today.
Yeah, Orb into Hammer is a matchup that can really be tough if played correctly for the Hammer player specifically. Orb being able to have those disjoints with the sidelight, being able to reach around the options that Hammer has, and now over onto the Axe, Godly quickly equalizing things back up, although Acno keeping pace relatively well, but I can't stress enough how important it is that Acno cannot afford to trade hits with this Teros. He needs to be winning these neutral interactions just because of how much damage per hit Teros can put out, and so far could definitely be going well as both players now entering this KO range. Godly looking for these aerials with the Axe, finds another Nair, and Acno landing safely with the side air. Both players up the side, now the down air is going to clash, and Acno's out of here. Fast stop goes to Godly.
That was nice. Acno with a little bit of an overextension there, trying to get like an offstage confirm on that left side, and Godly just said nope, ready for that, hit him with the dare, got the stock. And like you said, Acno was pretty much winning neutral for that first game too, but those hits from Teros are racking up as he's hitting these sidelight nairs. Another nair, almost putting Acno in orange. Not almost, he is. No, the nair recovery, taking another stock. Godly just makes it look so easy, man. How does he make it look so easy? I don't get it.
I can't remember which caster it was on mainstream who said this, but sometimes Axe Recovery will just play the game for you. Sometimes you'll just get lucky with the angle on that move, and it'll just send the exact direction you want. Finally, Acno will close out the fast stock ability with a GC side sig, but now has a very large hill to climb here. Orb, definitely the more explosive weapon of the two that Ezio has, but still not as explosive as some of the string weapons, and already will be coming back swinging.
Yeah, I mean, he took that stock in like, what, like 7 hits or something like that, and he's gone already, so Acno has a bit of a mountain to climb here. He's still just hitting these dares and nairs on Axe, and look at that, he's like in red, like he's in kill percent, and I swear he's hit him like 5 times, so Godly with his Teros pick is looking phenomenal. Hitting these neutralized, the weapon throw snipe, taking game 1 on Demon Island, the precision, the accuracy with that weapon throw, just off a simple Axe Neutralite too, and that is going to be 1-0 so far in Godly's favor. Pretty dominant too. It wasn't looking as dominant in the beginning, and it seemed like Godly kind of just flipped the switch and turned on, so I wonder if we're going to see Acno on that Vader pick again, or if that was kind of just like a little test, little toe in the water trying to figure it out. We might be seeing a little restart here.
I mean, we are in a position at this point in the year where we're right in the middle of the first circuit of the year, right? We had our first 2 of the trials in the winter circuit. We have 2 more to come, but right in this position is when players are really going to be considering trying stuff out. Having a community tournament at this point in the year is a perfect time for players to be trying new things or working out why they haven't been placing. I mean, if you're Godly, you're sitting pretty. He doesn't need to be here because he's just dominating the region. He has the most points possible going into the chance of getting that Royale. So everyone else needs to be figuring out, okay, what do I need to do to get the placement I need to get into that Royale at the end of the circuit? And this kind of tournament is exactly where you want to be testing those waters, testing things out. And so I definitely, I'm enjoying the possibility of these different picks out of players. And hopefully we do see more of the Darth Vader, because I just love watching the Star Wars crossovers. It's such a surreal feeling.
No, they are super badass. Love the Star Wars crossovers. I think that's a great point that you made about community tournaments, specifically kind of testing those legends and those picks. And for the Royale, I believe, off the top of my head, they posted the points earlier. We got Godly in first. I believe it's Knee second, and then Skeldra third, and Rain fourth, actually. And I'm assuming Acno would be right there in fifth for the current points for the Royale with the past 2 trials that have happened. And we've got the 3rd one coming up pretty soon here too. So that's going to be exciting to see, man. I feel like, Godly's kind of guaranteed that spot, getting these dubs, holding it down. But who are those other 3 EU competitors going to be to make the Royale alongside with Godly?
So yeah, I actually have just pulled up the point stats for everyone at home.
Was I right about that?
Godly with a perfect 200 for the first two. Knees in second with 140. Skeleton in third with 130. And then yeah, Rain in fourth with 120. Really breakout performances here so far by Rain. And then fifth is tied at 111 between Acno and Munir.
Oh,
which is really interesting because those are two very, very strong players. And speaking of strong players, Acno, again, opening up strong with this orb. I'm seeing a lot of Godly sort of using this first stock to figure out how to play into Acno specifically in this game. That's one thing that he's really sort of known for is that mid-set adaptation. And if he can get that adaptation faster than planned, that's just an even more dominant chance for Godly to take the set, as he's just so comfortable with this bow.
Yeah, maybe Godly was tapped in the stream because he dominated on that Taros, and then look, he's swapping over to that Koji. I know he made a tweet recently talking about Sword, saying like, why do people think Sword is bad? You know, not that many people playing too much Sword relatively for how good and consistent the weapon is. And now here he is rocking that Koji, that high dex sword, that high dex bow, taking that first stock off the top with the D-Light combo, which also got buffed in this recent patch, D-Light on Sword. So maybe we will start seeing a little bit more of a meta change with that.
Ooh, the force choke. Closing out that fast of Goldie. Much better pace coming out of Acno here. Not getting that second stock taken away so quickly. And I mean, it's not like we haven't seen Goldie play a really wide and diverse pool of characters, but this is an unserious pick from him. If I'm being completely honest, I think he saw what he could do with the terrorist and thought, okay, I'm gonna have some fun with it. And looks like he's doing so right now as Acno within the range to be KO'd soon, locking in with this orb, getting a few unanswered hits there, and Godly taking a second. Advantage once again, and Acno capitalizing well with this orb. Godly not able to find the KO blow just yet. Over onto the sword.
Like how he was just kind of holding that bow side to kind of have that threat coverage. Acno bleeding out here, making these unarmed hits in. That's going to be it though. D-Light recovery off the top. Probably one of the most consistent kill options in the game is going to be those combos out of sword. And Godly's been finding those pretty consistently here on this Koji.
We do also have that very recent buff of Sword D-Light being just a little bit less punishable, which makes Sword a bit more comfortable in fishing for that option. Because obviously, at this level of play, you're expecting a Sword D-Light at a KO range. Maybe you're not expecting that D-Sig. Really good usage of that by Acno right on the edge to get that spiking angle. You're expecting that Sword D-Light, but it being less punishable, being a bit safer to go for here. And both players now sword in hand. Not the optimal damage board option for both of these characters, but definitely not a weapon that's incapable of racking up that damage. And now blow for blow here as Acno has this game pretty close.
Both with sword in hand too, playing a pretty similar neutral game. Acno with a nice wake up there. He is getting punished a lot for these overextensions. Godly played, playing it nice and careful. Acno still racking up this damage, but they are really just trading back and forth with these hits here. Another beautiful wake up, neutral light, the dares, the dribbles. Godly with the recovery, not going to kill off the top quite yet. Both of these legends, not too much force, but as they are getting into this red range, both are going to be looking to find this kill here.
That's scary. That GC sidelight by Acno could have spelled real danger for Godly, but moving around and spacing around everything, finds a D-Light recovery, takes a second game, but a much closer game two for Godly. And 640 damage needed to win the game. I mean, Koji, like you said, not the highest force character and highest strength character, but still, both of his weapons do have consistency in being able to KO, so not usually a character you see. Okay, yeah, he's just vibing with it, but not usually a character you see lower KO efficiency with. But the Toph now, the core crossover coming in for Godly. This is one we haven't seen before, I think.
Yeah, definitely not. I know he was streaming his run earlier. I'm assuming he's probably still live now, so I'm wondering if he's just like taking like legend requests from his chat, like totally just knowing he's gonna absolutely wipe the floor on like anyone he plays. And it's looking pretty good up here. 2 games up, already hitting these dares, these down signatures. But Acno answering back with these sword aerials. Really good grounded end lights. Turn around, Ensei catches the dodge in. Acno definitely looking a little bit more locked in on this first stock, but we've seen how quickly Godly can just turn around and delete that. So can he keep this momentum going in this game 3, or will it be a 3-0 in Godly's favor?
Yeah, I mean, right now, Acno keeping it close. Godly looking for these D-Light side airs. Not quite going to be enough there. One more in the right position might do it, but the down air is dangerous. Godly, no more options. Acno, for the first time, will take the first stop of this game, but he doesn't have that much health to play with here.
That unarmed neutral light. What's going to be the kill option here? Gauntlets. The recovery, the D-Sig. Acno playing center stage pretty well. Trying to stay out of these kill option ranges. Dashes in with the D-Sig. There it is. Such a good Sig on that core kit. Another legend we don't really see too often, man. The core is fairly underrated for sure.
Reminds me, there was a time where core was really up there. I think it was sort of late 2020 where Gauntlets and Hammer were both in a really strong spot, and everyone was saying core's such a good character, but no one was playing him. Despite the times that core has been really strong, it's just not a character you've seen too much of in a professional setting. But Godly making it look good so far. We know he has we know he has the Gauntlets, and we know he has the hammer from the times he's locked in Terros. So
that is true.
He can make work! But Acno full sending it with that ground pound. Very scary there for Godly. Not respecting that offstage pressure of Hammer and actually not getting punished for it either. And still building up the damage here. Godly struggling to respond.
Acno rushing with these dares. He's hitting a lot of these sword aerials. Like, it seems like Acno's doing really well and he's keeping up almost every single game, but then Godly just ends up closing it out. The D-Sig into the recovery. True combo. Definitely one of the few SIGs in the game that's kind of like utility. You know, you throw it out, you get a true combo out of that, so it's cool to be seeing Acno utilize that a lot. Also as a stage spike too, waking up once again with this GC neutral light, keeping Godly at bay here, hitting that recovery, getting Acno into this red.
Yeah, that was just really fun to watch by other from Ezio. Like, characters having those setup tools in a signature kit is so fun to watch, and the fact that it can double as a spiking tool as well gives that sort of versatility to Ezio that some characters just don't have. Oh god, he doesn't find the D-Light there. That probably would have been the stock off Acno, and now kind of fishing for this D-Light. Acno taking his time, playing the waiting game, not just going to dive into this neutral, knows that if he misplaces his positioning, Godly can and will punish, and there it is. But decent little bit of damage here dealt to Godly. If Acno can play, if he can trade with Godly from here on out, he will stay in the lead.
Gets rid of that hammer, picks up another one, wanting to keep Acno off that weapon, getting a nice weapon spawn on himself. Godly with the whip stomp, catching the jump with the Sair. Acno looking good here. He's untouched on his last stock. Godly throwing out these weapon throws, not connecting. Catching him with that unarmed, picking up these gauntlets. Let's see what he can do with these gaunts, man. Gets hit by the recovery. He's in the red. He gets hit by the Sair. Acno's going to be looking to kill here for sure.
He will be, but Core is a character who has pretty decent stats, pretty high defense, but honestly, I'm going to call it. Without the recent Sair Force buff, that wouldn't have KO'd.
For sure, no, 100%.
Right on the edge of KOing there, but Acno will take a game to his name, denying the 3-0 from Godly. I'm curious if that means Godly's going to lock in something more consistent for what he usually plays, or if he's going to continue with these slightly more troll picks.
Yeah, he's definitely going with the roast. He says, nah, I can't lose the game. We're getting back on the main. We're taking it to town. I like how he swapped off the Roman Reigns too, you know, little drip swap back to the Demon Island too. Definitely a way more popular map now after the map pools have been kind of changing around a lot. Demon Island didn't used to get too much play, but I feel like nowadays it's like almost a lot of people's go-to. Just nice, solid, flat map, short walls, no platforms, and they're just getting right into this game number 4. But yeah, Acno still in the set, got a point on the board, and they're starting off strong here.
Yeah, I do feel like Demon has become sort of a new snowball, which is surprising to me considering the fact that, World's End has pretty much the same layout as Snowball, just not being able to go under that stage, and for whatever reason people just haven't been feeling that map the same way they have Demon. Perhaps it's the familiarity of this map having been in the pool for so long, one of the longest standing maps in the pool to date.
For sure.
Right now, damage pretty equal once again. This first stop, pretty much every time Acno's able to keep it close. It's whether or not he can maintain that, whether or not he can find the first stop again. Because really that early momentum last game is what allowed him to continue to press an advantage and keep Godly on the back foot. And still on the back foot here as he manages to make it back up off the edge, finds the neutral there. Acno at bay with the GC Starlight there, not quite going to be enough. Weapon throw ducked under, and Godly looking to break back into neutral here.
Acno gonna be looking for that kill. The stomps there though. One more is gonna do it. Throws the weapon. Has to use his options to make it back. Godly going for that GC sidelight unarmed. Acno using that last dodge to make it back to stage. Hitting these nairs. Both of them looking for anything here. The neutralize is gonna get punished by Ser. I feel like Ezio is such an interesting character because he kind of has like 2 secondary weapons if you think about it, like orb and sword. Comes in, doesn't need a weapon. The breakdance. And picking up that orb, is he going to stick with it? It definitely seems like he's a little bit more comfortable with this sword here, but I mean, that makes sense, man. Acno's been playing swords since, like, the dinosaur ages. Maybe not in 2s, maybe not even recently, but, you know, we know Acno for some sword for sure.
The good old OG Acno Koji and Acno Val.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it is interesting to point out that, like, yeah, Ezio on paper does kind of have just 2 secondary weapons.
Right.
But at the same time, if there's anything that recent tournaments have shown us is that orb can and will be used as a primary string weapon because of the 3-piece you can get out of dodge coverage. I'm trying to talk about your weapon setup, Acno. He's just racking up the damage now, really good use of that down save. Delay recovery is going to be enough to fight that higher ceiling on Demon Island. And now Godly struggling a bit more here.
Acno definitely seeming a lot more locked in now too. Like, first few games he was doing okay, but couldn't quite close it out. But now he's holding these leads, man. But this is what he needs to stay in winner's side here. Damn, Godly getting pieced up. The dodge reads, the dribbles into the D-Light ground pound. That's gonna be so much damage. Acno definitely feeling himself after that one, 100%. Picking up this sword once again, avoiding that Sayer, getting behind it, punishing it, going off stage. Godly playing stage nice and careful. The D-Light, there's the buff. He jumps out the D-Light, doesn't get punished. Okay. Oh no, Godly with a little shaky. I don't think I've ever seen him drop that. I've never seen him drop that. There we go. That's gonna be it. 1-1, but he's bleeding out, man.
Yeah, pretty heavily damaged here. Maybe, I don't know if it's quite D-Light recovery range, but Acno can't afford to get comfortable here. I mean, we said it before, terrorists can just rack up that damage so quickly, so not going to be enough.
Oh.
I don't think even one more will be enough here, but that down air, that snipe can be so dangerous. Godly struggling to punish here. Acno just ignoring the pressure of that D-Light, just letting himself fall down, and Godly not able to catch it. Down air as well, though. Godly getting some good answer damage here. D-Light side air goes for the ground pound. I respect.
No! He makes it back.
How does Acno not punish that?
Oh, that's gotta be it.
That's it.
Oh my god. What did it take in? Godly was picking up the pressure there. He went for kind of the Hail Mary ground pound, knowing he could close it out, and kind of fumbled his movement a little bit. Still made it back to the stage with that dodge up the end, but all Acno needed was one D-Light, and that's what he got. Are we seeing a Jala pick? I guess, honestly, it low-key makes sense. He wants to keep the axe, and he wants to play sword. So it's like the Jala. I could see it, honestly. Game 5, Godly Jala. I don't know. How are you feeling about that?
I mean, I said it before. He is a super, like, diverse character pool. He can go into any tournament and he'll play pretty much whoever. And in this matchup especially, that lower defensive Jala isn't going to hurt as much because even with, I think, Acno running the strength stance, that is only 5 strength if I repeat correctly. So, not enough of a difference to really scare Godly here and opening up with some good axe damage at the end light in the wrong direction. Godly weapons are pick up the sword. And one thing as well, I think Godly might be looking for a bit more consistency in these KOs. Acno's been moving around his KO options really well, just having that really high force, and especially those signatures of Jala that can just delete a stock super early. What he's looking for, finds the ground pound too, but not too much room to breathe on this first stock of Godly.
Beautiful edge guard there, holding on to this axe. I feel like having that sword is probably going to be a little bit more consistent. Acno, there we go, D-Light recovery. Evening up those stocks 2-2, and this is game 5 here too, so whoever wins this is going to move on to Grand's winner side, which is going to be putting you at a very good position to win the whole thing. So both of these players are going to be locked in on this game 5. Godly axe in hand, and Acno with this lightsaber, man. He's been doing work with the lightsaber.
He really has been, yeah. I mean, I was saying the orb is sort of more of an explosive weapon than sword, so usually you'd see Ezio players, all three Ezio players would be sort of making use of that orb to as more of a string weapon, but Acno just running consistently on this sword, and we're seeing it pay off here as he starts to equalize up the damage. Godly over onto the axe. Looking for a few more hits into the KO, potentially starving that weapon away. Definitely wants the sword here for that KO power. Sider's going to give him the space. Back onto the axe now.
Looking for those Sayers. He finds it. That kills too. That high strength Jalamore, that glass cannon legend is going to find that kill relatively early. Acno was kind of in the light red, but finding that Sayer right when you need it is going to be putting Godly in a good spot here. Acno now on his winner's side stock. You can call it that. Sidelight Nair is going to be a lot of damage. Endlight's going to be a lot of damage. This axe is not something you want to get hit by. Acno's going to be wanting to clean this up pretty quickly. And Godly's here extending this lead, hitting this Nair, swapping weapons, avoiding these weapon throws as well.
Oh, he's confident.
The neutral light, he's in the orange.
You can really, Godly's one of those players where you can really tell when he's starting to feel himself. He brings those weapon throws into his playstyle a lot more. He's jiggling around. He's playing a much faster movement game. Yeah, recovery by Acno is good. But in the orange here, needs to play a near flawless final stock if he wants to take this game off Godly.
Can he do it? Godly with the sword in hand, which I feel like can do relatively well into Orb. But either way, both these players are just gonna slow the pace of the game down on that last stock. Godly finding these neutral airs really well, dashing it with that, knowing Acno's kind of hovering. Acno now in the red, trying to play this as careful as possible. Might be making him a little bit shaky. Runs in the neutral light there. Godly holding it down, center stage.
Dude, I can smell a sig. Oh, there it is. I was gonna say I can smell a Hail Mary sig coming in. And lo and behold, it does, but doesn't hit its mark. Delay recovery by Godly, and that's going to be enough. A much closer final game, but Godly will close it out in Game 5 fashion. Not really what I expected from that set, but still very well played by Acno.